to record. All right, so officially welcome everyone to the April meeting. I'm just letting a few people in. We have an exciting agenda, a little shift in today's agenda today. Unfortunately, Mark Nuami from Water Life Church is sick and had to go to take care of himself, had to go to urgent care, and he will not be able to present today, but we still have been able to use this time to really benefit the region and highlight some really exciting things that's happened, including our CDFI. So we're going to highlight them during that space we had allotted originally for Mark, but our scheduling and timing still remains the same for everyone else. So to kick us off, we have Alicia James from SCAG, who's going to share a little bit about any updates on the Reap 2.0. And so I'm going to do that. I have her presentation, so let me go ahead and cue it up. And go ahead, Alicia.
Thank you, Melanie. Hi, everyone. Alicia James, Senior Public Affairs Specialist at SCAG. Here to share with you all about our Reap 2.0 program. I know we've presented before on this program and we've been engaging with you all, but wanted to kind of check in and provide a brief update. The Reap 2.0 program provides $246 million to the SCAG region. And where we are right now in our application process, we submitted our application to the state. We are pending approval, but as we are getting very, very close to approval and working with the state to finalize our final application, we have released our call. So that is exciting. And as we go to the next slide, the state has three objectives for any programs that are funded under REAP. They include promoting infill development, reducing vehicle miles traveled, and affirmatively furthering fair housing. So as you apply for each of our programs, you will see that those are requirements and there's some guidance on how you would meet those. And so with that, in addition to the state's objectives, SCAG has some objectives as well, building off our Connect SoCal plan and hoping to deliver housing that supports our 6-cycle RHNA goals. And of course, reducing VMT and supporting our racial equity action plan. These are all goals that we are looking at as we are looking for projects. Next slide, please. So SCAG's Reap 2.0 program has a lot of different sub-programs. Today I'm going to focus on the programs that are open right now for funding for applications and kind of just diving into those. So our first program that is actually open at this moment is the CTC Partnership Program. This is a $80 million. If you go to 2 slides forward, Melanie, it's an $80 million competitive call, only eligible for CTCs. So they have a pipeline of projects that, they think they could finish within, there's only like a 2.5 year completion time with a lot of money to spend. So there's pipeline projects there, and that's consistent with all those objectives that we see. So it's a very small pool of applicants for this one. So there's six CTCs in our region. So that one is open now. It's a little bit more granular and who can apply. The RPI program is upcoming. It has $15 million available to look at regional pilot programs in our region. And so this one's more transportation based, and we're looking at bringing on a consultant to help us kind of frame this project a little bit more and figure out guidelines for it as well. So our next really big program that we have is our PATH program, which has had a lot of interest. This includes 3 areas, which includes our NOFA, Notice of Funding for Lasting Affordability. That's $45,000, and that is for trust funds or catalyst funds, and looking at projects that look at innovative housing finance strategies. If you go up one more slide, that's weird, it's not showing. But But yes, so we have our NOFA, that's $45 million. And that is eligible for trust funds, catalyst funds, looking at housing finance opportunities. And then we have our RUSH pilot program, which looks at utilities to support housing. So, what are the basic utilities, water, sewer, that are needed to support, continue to support housing production. That's $35 million for that program. And then finally, we have our HIP program, which looks at scaling up development of available land. So this, the eligibility for the HIP program is anyone with large corridor area or areas of available land that they would like to do some infill development on. And that's $8 million available under that call. So those programs are not open yet. They will be opening soon in early May. Then again, we talked about one of the PATH programs is looking at the utilities needed to support housing development. And so for this, we're hosting an industry forum. We're looking at an advisory panel of experts that kind of looks at our SCAG region and looks at the issues that we're facing in terms of housing infrastructure, and devises a plan to, what's the best approach to, getting the most out of our $35 million. What does eligibility look like? And so we're going to have this panel of experts come together, and they're going to have their findings and present their findings at our housing industry forum. And so this will be held on Friday, April 28th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. There's in person in downtown Los Angeles at the Japanese American National Museum. There's also virtual options available to register as well, if you would like to attend virtually. So if housing infrastructure, and you want to discuss, wastewater, sewer, those kind of basic utility infrastructures needed for housing, this would be a great and interesting forum for you all to attend. So as we go into our next program, which is our sub-regional partnership program, this is another one with a small pool of eligible entities. And so this one makes $23 million available to our sub-regional COGs in the area, and their funding that's available to them on a non-competitive basis is actually based on their RENA allocation. And so with this money, we want to see the COGs supporting their housing element programs, looking at their housing element work plans from their cities within their region and supporting those, and looking at other innovative housing strategies. So that one is for our sub-regional COGs. That one's also open right now. And our next program is more widely opened. That's our Sustainable Communities Program, Civic Engagement, Equity, and Environmental Justice. This program is a program that has been around SCAG for many years, since 2005. And we have, like every other year, we have a call for projects, right? And so this call is focused on civic engagement, equity, and environmental justice. It actually has two funding sources. If you go to the next slide, it has a Reap2.0 and SB1 funding source. And it looks, the goal of the program is to encourage partnerships between local governments and community-based organizations. And another goal here is to fund high impact and transformative land use and transportation activities. And absolutely, you can, Melanie, I want to make sure that that PATH slide, you have a good version there, and I'll give that to you to share with everyone. But this is, a program that is widely open, and it's actually open now for applications. And I'll go into the types of projects that they would like to see on the next slide. So it's funded by Reap2 as well as SB1. There's some opportunities there for transportation projects. So we have two categories: housing and land use strategies, and then the transportation side, which is the multimodal communities. And so this is to support planning projects, and these projects will pretty much you have a project that you would like to put forward, you partner with a city or CBO or tribal entity or any other agency in your region, you create partnerships. And then what SCAG does is they hire on a consultant to kind of support you in the work. So they, pay the CBO for any works done, or, pay the team for any work done, but also provides consultant services or hires on a consultant on your behalf. So we have a long list of eligible projects in the guidelines. So I encourage you all to look at that. And then on the next slide, just a little bit more information about this program. Primary applicants include cities and counties, county transportation agencies, transit agencies, tribal entities, natural resources or public land agencies, public academic institutions, school districts, special districts, and then housing trust funds and housing authorities. And then we also encourage partnerships with community-based organizations, nonprofits as well. So so a really exciting program. I'm happy to also share with you all where you can find the guidelines. So in summary, we have our next slide, please. We have our call for applications timeline. So the programs, again, out right now is the SCP call for civic engagement, equity, environmental justice projects. That is open, as well as the CTC and the sub-regional partnership programs. Those have the smaller pool of eligible entities. Those are also open. And then we have our NOFA and our HIT program opening on May 10th. And our RUSH program will be released, those dates following that forum that I shared with you all. So really exciting. And again, the state has not yet approved our application. And so, these programs, we're hoping to get that approved soon. And so each program has its own guidelines I shared with you all as well. And we also have this really awesome technical assistance hub kind of page on our Reap 2.0 page that highlights all the technical assistance opportunities, including application workshops, office hours, links and resources, and data services as well that we have to support you in your applications. Next slide, please. So a couple other resources, as I was just saying, that there's some data resources that are helpful as well in supporting you in your application. We have our regional data platform, which has a suite of different mapping tools there. And we also, on that platform, will be carrying out our new Streetlight Big Data platform, which looks at travel behavior and trends. If any of these mapping tools are interested or sound interesting for you, whether it's for your Reap 2.0 application or your other work, we encourage you all to check them out. They're really useful. And then finally, we have a Reap 2.0 indicator tool that looks at priority growth areas and other layers as well. And I think that is it. I've included each program's contact person's information there as well, so that you can get in touch with any program leads that you would like to are interested in. And I'm happy to take questions. Let's see. There we are. Oh, I see a hand up. Rosina?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Rosina from US Bank, Community Affairs Manager. I'm not new to the work of Community Affairs Manager, but I'm kind of new to this group. And I suppose that SCAG stands for Southern California Association of Governors. Is that correct?
Yes, of governments. Yeah.
Okay, of governments. And then one of the things is all of these grants or programs available, obviously this is a good platform to talk about them, but how else are they promoted? And what happens if the money is not fully utilized?
So I think we have flexibility if money is not utilized in one program to move it, like if we're oversubscribed in one program, you know, there's CTCs have $100 million worth of projects, but they really are only getting 80. We're able to kind of move funding as needed. And we actually, like, our agency primary focus is to serve our member cities. So a lot of our outreach that we are doing is through our member cities. We have 197. So.
Excellent, thank you.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask them or drop them in the chat. We have just a few more minutes to do so. Alicia, I actually had a question. Are there any implications once the state approves the application? Does that affect the current timeline, application process, or even guidelines set forth in this presentation?
We are hoping not, but we are adding a disclaimer that it may. We've been working closely with the state to change things in our application, to you know, change our scoring rubrics, things like that. And so we feel like we're really close to approval. And so, like, if there's anything, it might be minor. Like, I feel like we've gotten through all the major stuff. So we're hoping not, though. That's the goal.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. And then what I can do is, Alicia, also, if you want to provide an updated PDF with just that one slide with the program areas, I could then send it out to everyone who was on the call today as a follow-up if you guys want to take a more in-depth look at that, if that's okay with SCAG, with you guys, with you all.
Yep, that sounds great. I'll follow up with that today, Melanie. Well, thank you all for having me. And I hope you all apply for our programs, or, you know, take a look and see if there's interest there. We have plenty of opportunities to check in with you all to see, you know, see if you have a feasible project.
Awesome. And the best people to check in and to talk about feasibility are those that you had on the contact slide, correct? That follow-up slide. Awesome. Okay. Sounds good.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you for presenting. We appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. Well, thank you all. We are going to go ahead and move on to our next presenter. Originally, like I had made this disclaimer prior, our presenter from Water Life Church, who was going to present on the affordable housing project, is ill today and was not able to present. But we were able to fill this time slot and opportunity with some regional wins that the collective wanted to highlight and allow these entities to share a little bit about the work they're doing. So this month, the U.S. Treasury announced announced the CDFIs that were awarded, and we had 4 in our region that were, awarded these funds. And so I was able to get in contact and invite 3 out of the 4. So we don't have Montclair School Employee Credit Union that's on and going to tell us a little bit about, but we do have 3 of the other community-based or CDFIs. So to start it off, I've asked NPHS to give us about 3 to 5 minutes to share a little bit about what they were awarded and what they had hoped to use the intended funds, CDFI funds, for in our community. So I have Curtis Miller, who's here, who's going to share out for us. Oh, Curtis, I can't hear you.
There we go. Sorry about that. Hey, thank you for having us. I appreciate it. So I'm going to talk about, we received $500,000 in capital from the CDFI. We are going to be putting that towards our new ADU financing program. So we're working, we've created this program last year. We are working with an investor pool right now to drive up funding availability for the region. We see this as a big need in our community to create and access affordable housing. So we've created a manufactured ADU financing program, which can be utilized throughout the region, really. I know typically our agency is limited to Southern California, San Bernardino, Riverside, but we could do it technically throughout the state here. We're working, as I mentioned, with a pool of lenders right now and investors to create additional funding. We're designing this program to be accessible for moderate LMI families, low to moderate income. And we're also potentially looking at designing it for low income census tracts. And we're working with lenders to also kind of administer this pool, and even if need be, purchase these loans on the back end as CRA credit. So it's a revolving loan fund that we're trying to create here, and just really going to be great for the community. Try to increase these home ownership numbers. We as an agency have become a retailer of manufactured housing and manufactured ADU. We see the benefits of this type of housing being more affordable and more energy efficient in terms of the waste for the consumer. And I've put a link there for our website, and I'll add this other link because it didn't look like it worked. But we've got our agency website, homesbynphs.com. I've also got the link to our factory built ADU lending program. So we're providing up to $200,000 in affordable financing at 5.99%, probably for 30 years. Loan term is what we're looking at to help facilitate and finance these ADU units for these families. So I feel free to check out our website. Looks like I messed it up again. I apologize. MPHS. I'll fix it after the fact. But yeah, it's very good information. Check out the Homes by MPHS website. You'll be able to look at these units. They're wonderful. They, look better than my front house, so check them out. The units are available. Roshana, who's on our call, she can provide financing or not financing. I'm sorry, loan
product details.
Yes, the details. Sorry, but yeah, great information available there. So go ahead and check it out.
Thanks, Curtis. Can I add one more thing, Melanie? Thank you, Curtis. That was awesome. So as he mentioned, we're leveraging this funds, and we've been working with a working group for some time, LA Reach. It's sort of hosted by the OCC. And so there's a lot of lender partners that are interested in creating this loan pool specific to this product. It's going to be for secondary mortgages for low to moderate income homeowners to put in these ADUs. So if there's any lenders on the call who are not part of that cohort, but are interested in getting involved and or investing in this pool, please communicate. You can reach out to us directly, me directly, and I can leave my info in the chat as well if needed. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, NPHS and team. This is super exciting, and just to kind of, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the CDFIs and the format, so this is not something that's easily done in actuality. So I'm not an expert in this, and they have, great consultants and professionals such as NPHS that work on this. But the process of becoming a CDFI is no longer, it's not easy. It requires a lot of rigorous applications. You're going after funding continually to create this, funding pool to give out loans for, our low to moderate income communities. And it's not an easy process. And especially since the U.S. Treasury is tightening the guidelines for this, I really wanted to highlight those that were awarded this cycle, because this is something that could be hard for our region to maintain the current number of CDFIs as the guidelines become stricter and as funding opportunities will possibly decrease. So, as a region, we're really looking to support these current CDFIs and ensure that they're here as a resource, in the future years and so forth. So next off, to add that little blurb, now I want to move over to NHSIE, and I saw Ms. Kaylin come on and Alicia. So NHSIE were other awardees, and so Kaylin Scott, the executive director, is here to share out a little bit about what they intend to use the funds for.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Melanie, for giving us the space to be able to share about this exciting opportunity. And our previous executive director, I believe, is on the line, Ms. Dawn Lee, who was instrumental in making sure that NHSIE was a CDFI before she retired. And she did definitely help on this particular application. And so NHSIE was awarded $925,433. It was a very exact amount. And our program is also for ADU development. We are prioritizing the preservation of home ownership with this particular program. We're actually going to be outreaching to very specific zip codes in our Inland Empire region, in the low to moderate income population, specifically those who are in jeopardy of losing their homes, whether it be to back taxes, they're in potential foreclosure, and we're going to be partnering to be able to add this as residual income for those particular families to be able to increase affordable housing in the rental space, but then also ensure that the wealth gap is being decreased, wealth is being preserved with those homeowners. And so we're really excited about it because through this program, we're going to be launching our ADU technical assistance education program that Elisa Cota, who is our real estate development manager, worked about a year on. It was funded by the California Community Foundation and SCAG last year. And so it is very much so like the home buyer development program, where it's a long course and counseling. But we're excited to be able to launch that in partnership with this ADU investment, as well as preserving the home ownership here in the Inland Empire.
Awesome. Thank you, Kaylin. And so our third awardee for the region is here too. So I have Brian Kennedy, who, there he is, I see it now. He was able to jump on. So Hilda is out in Sacramento doing her thing, and Brian has stepped in. So I greatly appreciate you being able to kind of fill in that space and let us know, what you guys intend to do with the funds you received this cycle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Melanie, thank you for inviting us. As always, this is such a pleasure to be gathered. And thank you everyone who has shared their accomplishments, because these are success stories. And we're grateful to be a part of such an exciting time. So yes, my name is Brian Kennedy. I'm with AMPAC Business Capital. I am the director of our entrepreneur ecosystem, which was a big part of this grant award. So AMPAC is pegged to use the funds to make loans available to business owners that need to be affordable, because especially now, businesses coming out of this pandemic, if making it out was one thing, but continuing to thrive is another thing. So we understand the need for affordable and accessible capital, and these grant funds are being used to continue to bolster our loan programs for business owners. This grant award has also been used to expand and strengthen our entrepreneur ecosystem. And I wanted to join and show you all briefly what our entrepreneur ecosystem is, because we believe that we would love to share a lot more of the programs that you all are implementing through our ecosystem, so business owners are also seeing what is accessible. Is it okay if I share my screen really fast?
Yep, give me 1 second. I'll make you co-host.
Okay. But the reason that we wanted to launch an entrepreneur ecosystem is because as much as we are capital providers, we know that technical assistance is one of the biggest pieces of access to capital. And so we wanted to create a hub for resources and resource partners, which we've been honored to have the many of you on this call a part of that. But I will do a quick screen share. Let me pull it up. And I will show you all what our ecosystem looks like. And I would like to invite you all to join if you would feel so obliged. We did put everything into a mobile app. Can you all see my screen okay? I can't see the cameras, but if I'm hearing it,
Yes.
we can't hear your screen. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
we
Thank
can.
you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, we can.
But awesome. Awesome. But we wanted to showcase our ecosystem in this space to invite you all to join. We're continuing to expand what resources we're putting here. So as lenders, we know one of the biggest gaps is that too many business owners don't know about the Small Business Development Center, the Women's Business Center and SCORE that provides them access to free consulting, coaching, and mentoring. We have a space in Ontario that we are renting out now as a co-working space for business owners. And we're aiming to maintain a more robust calendar with different business relevant topics. And I know that programs around home ownership would be welcome in this space, and ADU assistance loan programs that I'm sure too many business owners don't know about. But we also have a feed where we share information. And as you see, members of the ecosystem share information as well. And so, yes, similar to a LinkedIn, but much more centralized and localized. But the biggest part is our directory, which is our community. We have over 850 business owners. And I wanted to point out that when I type in different keywords, we don't have many home ownership specialists, companies, or resources within our directory. And we would like to be intentional and use this time to invite you all to join our ecosystem so that we can continue to promote all of these amazing programs that are coming down from these successes, from these wins. But it is as simple as typing in AMPAC Business Capital in the App Store if you all are interested. We're really excited about this award. We're grateful to the CDFI Fund, and we're looking forward to continuing to advance impact alongside each and every one of you. And so I put I dropped everything in the chat, and I'll drop it in the chat again for those who didn't get access the first time. But I included the link to the CDFI article if you wanted to read that, a link to our entrepreneur ecosystem, and a link to our loan programs and follow up, coupled with my email and the link to our website. But thank you all so much for this time, and really looking forward to continue to advance streams alongside you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I know I see a hand up from Bryce Hudson. If you want to jump in, if you have a question.
Yeah, I wasn't, let me start off by saying Brian did not pay me to say what I'm about to say. But I am also, I met Brian through another organization, and I visited AMPAC. All the things that he's saying is true. I am currently using all the services that he has. I do have a consultant or mentor, and I definitely can see the home ownership being a great component of it. So just want to tip my hat off to AMPAC, because a wonderful, kind of like the best kept secret for entrepreneurs, and it's a great tool for everyone to use. And again, he did not pay me at all, but I will take number one Big Mac Happy Meal or something like that afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Bryce. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I mean, and this is a great opportunity. The collective yesterday held a forum for the Bank on Coalition. If you don't know, but the local Bank on Coalition is housed within the collective, within our wealth building and preservation pillar. And we had our annual forum with FDIC and the Federal Reserve yesterday at credit.org in person. And I see many of you guys on here who were there yesterday. I appreciate the support, but I say this in that Monica Robles, who was presenting, who was our keynote speaker, who I also see is on here, had mentioned, she works alongside a lot of business owners. And I know that Brian, some of her, entrepreneurial have leverage, will leverage, can leverage, your small business loans. But she shared a lot about what she sees and when she's doing a lot of her classes, and how that it's kind of for this next year. And this has been a common thread, I believe, from just the past couple years of putting together a program for home ownership. So I know like this is on her agenda, how she's focused with building up, helping women in our communities create their own business, and sees the strong parallel with home ownership. She's also adding a program onto that because of that direct correlation of preparing, right? Using your business to work towards home ownership too. So I encourage, our HUD counseling agencies to also think of those partnerships too with our small business developers. And so, Monica, I hope I represented you well in what I just said, and your goals for this coming year and in some of your programs.
Yes, thank you so much. You did awesome. So I don't even need to speak. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. So yeah. So thank you guys for sharing. I appreciate that. Something that I wanted to include and start incorporating in our monthly meetings was regional wins, right? Things in our region that we can share, celebrate, and just amplify on what's going on. And I saw this as a great opportunity to kind of launch that, especially with our with the CDFI. And then similarly, I found out this month that the cities of Fontana and Adelanto just got their pro-housing designation, which is a great win, especially for affordable developers and people working in those cities to have those updated guidelines and to really, allow you to build, allow others to build at an accelerated rate, hopefully, and just leverage just the designation. So going into detail, I know there's a lot of, maybe in the future we can get a representative from those cities to come on and share a little bit about their designation and what they had proposed in their applications. But that's another win for our area for the IE too. And I know there's a couple other cities that are talking and moving towards submitting pro-housing designation applications also. So, all right. So we are. So next we're going to, if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and drop them in there for any of the, I guess, quick presenters, the CDFIs that we were just highlighted. But now we're going to pivot briefly to another. In the past, I think last year we were able to hear from Enid Jaffe. She is partnering with Uplift San Bernardino on an awesome and really innovative grant opportunity with EV. And I see Heather's on here too. Great. So we got the whole team ready to share out, but they're going to tell us a little bit about the new grant opportunity that they have. And I will open the platform to you and get your PowerPoint up for you. So go ahead.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Melanie. And Heather, do you want to just kind of wave? Heather, so my name's Enid Jaffe, and my company is called Green Paradigm Consulting. And we've actually talked to some of you before, and I'm working with Making Hope Happen Foundation on clean air initiative around electrification and workforce development and getting more chargers in the city. And Heather, do you want to do a quick self-introduction?
Hi, everyone. And yes, I do see a lot of smiling faces from yesterday. So hello again. I hope you're having another great day. Yesterday was a lot of fun, and I want to thank you so much, Melanie, for putting that together with the On Banking coalition that was fantastic. So as you may not know, for the ones who weren't there yesterday, Uplift is a collective impact, and I am the program coordinator for human capital. And right now we're focused on the electrification and electric vehicles and infrastructures of San Bernardino. And so we believe that electric vehicles are the future of our transportation in our community. And by working together, we can make significant impact on reducing our carbon emissions and improving the air quality in our community. Our goal is to create a network of individuals and organizations to share a vision and commit to making San Bernardino a leader in sustainable transportation. And through our collective impact approach, we aim to bring together and devise stakeholders, including government agencies, businesses, community organizations, and residents to collaborate on projects that promotes this adoption of electric vehicles and the development of our infrastructure.
Thanks, Heather. Okay, great. So today I'm going to share a little bit about funding opportunities, and it's great because the theme of this meeting seems to be successes in getting funding in the region and opportunities to get more funding into the region. So that's really good news. And just a quick update, we got in our initial grant with Making Hope Happen Foundation about a year ago. We just started work, and we have already done outreach through a number of events that Foundation and Project Uplift have sponsored or been part of, and we've gotten a lot of interest from the community. So people say, oh, well, it's very hard to get get communities to step up and say they're interested in electrification and chargers, but we have not found that to be the case. There's just been a great amount of interest at the events we've had. In addition, we're working with high school students and middle school students to create careers. And so I'll be reaching out to you, Brian, about entrepreneurship and some of the things that you're doing, because we have a desperate need for electrical workers and designers of charging stations. And we have been doing some workshops with the students, which have been very well received. And in fact, we're writing from the students' suggestion, we're writing our next grant to develop a virtual reality program where they can actually design charging stations without touching anything electrical. So that suggestion actually came from the students themselves. So anyway, so it's been quite exciting. So I'm going to fly through a couple of opportunities, and really the purpose is to give you a sense of all the opportunities that are out there, and then we'd love people's expressions of interest. We'll follow up with you. We can be, the team we're building, we can do all the work to get you. It's a bit of a maze getting into some of these, and we can do all the work to help you do that. And so what we're really trying to do is kind of tell you all the opportunities out there. So I'm going to start with one that's called, these are, and I apologize for sort of the lingo here, but which is government lingo, but this one comes from the California Energy Commission. It's called Convenient High Visibility Low Cost Level 2 Charging, or CHIL 2. And this one has a deadline of June 16th. It's grants for cities over 200,000 or under. There are, you can do smaller cities as well. And basically what they're looking for is a point, a central point in a community and a 1.5 mile radius, 1.5 mile radius around that point to saturate it with charging. So the concept here is that people do not get EVs because they're worried about where they're going to charge them. And if you can install 350 chargers or 330 chargers in a city of 200,000, then nobody's got an excuse. They can find a charger in every corner. So we're basically looking for someone who's interested in being that host, and looking at that, and can identify that location. It can be half of the sites need to be in disadvantaged community census tract, and but like I said, we can do a lot of this work, and we're just basically looking for interest in the community. And the applicant can be a nonprofit or a government agency. So if we could go to the next slide. To look at the next opportunity. Okay, this next one is one that's coming up very quickly. It's called Communities in Charge. It's going to be closing on May 8th. And here it's about speed. It's about deploying charging stations very quickly in communities. And by the way, you know, communities include housing developments or areas, you know, where there's a lot of housing development. We certainly want to be including electric transportation in new housing development. And that's a kind of a different conversation because these are sites that already need to be up and running. But this provides basically on a per charger basis, 3,500, or for a multifamily, it's 7,000 per charger. And again, there too, it's pretty simple to apply for. We can assist with that. We have all the tools to really do that. And the scoring is really based on readiness for construction. So we can help you get to the point where you are ready for construction and you know, and ready to go. And these programs, the good news is this program will be offered next year as well. And so if we, you know, don't get a lot of hand raises this year, we'll be getting the word out for next year. So this is called Communities in Charge. Next slide. And Communities in Charge, this just illustrates the various tiers and what's required for the tiers. Very important is, you know, getting a site design, which we could help with. If you have a building permit, even better. But this is kind of what tier you fall in and what the chances are for funding. Mostly they're going to fund ones in tier 1 or 2, but we have seen some funded in some areas in tier 3 as well. Next slide. And here too, this is kind of the scoring rubric for this. As you can see, DAC or disadvantaged communities and low income communities are definitely get higher priority. And letters of support are really important. And that's one of the things where having a coalition like this and having Making Hope Happen Foundation and people like Heather, we have been very successful in getting letters of support. And that really makes a difference in getting grant funding, as I'm sure you know. Next slide, please. So the next one I want to talk about is you probably have all heard about all this federal money coming through the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, Infrastructure and Jobs Act, and Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. And this is sort of the first part of that money that's been rolled out. It's a 5-year program. They're currently funding years 1 and 2 for $700 million. We are very actively working on grants. Currently, we're hoping to submit several for this funding. It targets communities like San Bernardino, like Riverside, and is very community oriented. So telling a story about the community is really helpful, and particularly a community that is as heavily impacted, communities that are as heavily impacted by air quality as the Inland Empire. And we have a local grant writer that is in San Bernardino, happened to move into the area, has had a lot of success with federal grants, and we've brought him on board. He's going to be helping us with these applications. And there's 2 kinds of applications. One is Carter's, which might work for Inland Empire because there are so many freeways. Another is community grants. The good news is you don't have to pick. The government will pick for you, and they'll put you in one bucket or the other, depending on how they review your application. So next slide. And the last program I'm going to talk about is something a lot closer to home. And that is the Edison Small Site Rebate Program. And this one is kind of simpler to understand and apply for. It provides up to 4 ports, which means 2 chargers or 4 chargers at a location. Could be, they're focused on multifamily housing and small commercial. So for some of those entrepreneurs, this is perfect. $10,000 per port, which is usually enough to pretty much do the project, unless there's some extraordinary expenses, in which case we move on to another location. The funds are available first come, first serve until the money runs out. And the participants have to agree to keep the charging in for 10 years, which is about the life cycle of a charger. You have to enroll in Edison's demand response program, which means that if there's a power emergency, you dial back the power on the charger. I don't think anybody really has a problem with that. And then you have to ensure that the charging equipment includes network service and pricing information, which pretty much any major approved charging system will do. So that's another program that's sort of right out there, easy to apply for, and can instead of collecting sites and doing a large community application, can be site by site. So as you can see, I think that was the end of my slides. As you can see, there's just a lot of opportunities. Heather and I would like to follow up with anyone who's interested. We can help you figure out what program is the best fit for you. It takes a while to get all these things organized, to figure out the best approach. And so the sooner we start, the sooner we can get into one of these programs. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. And if you're interested, please let us know, put your name in the chat, or just let us know through Melanie, and we'll be happy to follow up. Thanks a lot.
Question.
Oh, go ahead.
Your contact information, I'm interested, but if you give it to us.
Sure. Yeah, it's in the chat, I think.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's Ina Jaffe, and I'm at Green Paradigm Consulting.com, and then Heather, maybe you could put yours in as well, and then you'll have both of us.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. We'd love to talk to you.
I just copied and pasted her email again so it's at the top or at the bottom, however you look at it, so it's most current. So there we go. So thank you, Enid, for all your work, and it's good.
Thank you.
It's good to see the progress and how everything's moved forward, and like the past year and last time you were able to engage as you guys were starting that process.
Absolutely.
So,
oh, and if I could just say one other announcement, cars and chargers are kind of the chicken and egg. People don't want to buy cars without the chargers. People, if you have the chargers, you need the cars. And that's the what we're trying to impact here. So, so the other program that we are telling everyone about is there are a lot of funding for both for vehicles. I manage a program called Replace Your Ride, which can give up to, the amount will be going up to $11,500 for turning in a pre-2008 car and getting a new hybrid electric or hydrogen car. So that's great to just spread the news around, because we just got a new track of funding, and this program is very popular. So we like to spread the word, but the Inland Empire is very underrepresented, and our job is to bring those numbers up. Second thing is that there are a lot of medium and heavy duty electric trucks coming online, and shuttle buses and vans, and a lot of funding for those. And so if you're working with entrepreneurs or businesses who could use those vehicles, we're happy to talk to you about what's out there and how to apply for the funding. So I'll just end with that, but I just wanted to give a pitch for the vehicles as well as for the infrastructure.
Enid, can you send me that information and I'll include it in our next newsletter too?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. All right, if we don't have any further questions, I wanted to make time for our pillar updates and just general announcements. I see that, I had wanted, we're still on, I saw that Michelle Davis had posted, just put in the chat that they have a comment period for their action plan. And wanted to see if Michelle was still on, if she had anything else to add or any deadline or close. Oh, she put it May 9th. But if there was anything else, there you are. If there's anything else you wanted to add.
No, it's just a great opportunity for our partners to review our action plan and identify if there's other gaps and needs within the community that we can identify within the plan. And then if there's interested parties that say, hey, how do I obtain applications for these funding sources, reach out to us and we can put you on our interest list so that when we release the funding for the next grant period for the next fiscal year, we usually do that about November, December, and we can add you onto that list.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. So all City of Riverside folk, take note, encourage you to provide some feedback for them. If you guys have any more updates or anything, general announcements coming, please put them in the chat or just, and we'll make time. I want to just move on to some like pillar updates right now. We could start that off. I see that Ayako is primed and ready, so I'm going to go with you first.
Great. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, speakers. Great information. It was a lot to take in. Looking forward to getting some notes there because there's a lot there. And so Ayako Tsumi, I chair the expansion of housing solutions pillar of Inland SoCal Housing Collective. We meet the second Thursday of every month from 9 to 10 a.m. Second Thursday, 9 to 10 a.m. If you're interested in joining us, please, I did put my email in the chat. Please do contact me. We discuss expanding homeless housing opportunities. We discuss affordable home ownership. We discuss innovative housing typologies. So we're about expanding solutions. Our focus over the next couple months will be to host a special weekend, most likely Saturday, a series of sessions around the state of California has a mortgage assistance program that offers, it's either HAF or HAP. I'm sorry, could somebody correct me. MPHS, somebody correct me. Anyway, HAP, HAF.
HHAF.
HAF, thank you.
Housing Assistance Fund.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Fabian. And it was launched a while ago, but the restriction, it was too restrictive and not really helping enough people. And then the fund was undersubscribed. So the state recently expanded the rules to include more people, but people are still not applying. So the people on members of the committee, such as Fabian, suggested, you know, we really collectively, we have an opportunity to help bring this information to those mortgage homeowners with at-risk mortgages and explain to them the rule changes so we can help determine if they can indeed apply for up to $80,000 of mortgage relief. And that includes property taxes. If you're in arrears on property taxes, there's relief there as well. But as with any program, lots of rules, lots of restrictions. It's very important that you have an expert explain this to you. So all of you on this call, you have your networks, you know people who have mortgages and they're in trouble. We want to make sure that they can stay in their homes. So please do participate with us and look for a few dates in the coming months when we hold these special information events. And last time I did briefly mention that Volunteers of America in Los Angeles, I sit on the board there, has 150 RV trailers that we don't know what to do with. And unfortunately, I don't have more information for you right now, but we're not able to use them in LA for various complicated reasons. But I think, i.e., we can do this. Right, we can make use of their brand new, beautiful RV trailers. They perfect for transitional interim housing, put them on a lot. There is complication around hooking up utilities, water, sewer, electricity, all those things. It's not cheap to hook this up. It's not as simple and expensive as one might think. So there are specific requirements of a lot upon which we might put some trailers. So we want to make sure that whoever takes them will be set up for success, and that you're fully aware of all the, when they say the devil's in the details, it's very true. And we, again, want to help set you up for success. So these rules are sort of being formulated. The cost, I was hoping it would be free, but maybe it would be a nominal cost. I'm not sure yet, trying to work that out, but they're definitely not going to be sold for like market price, nothing like that. It will be absolutely nonprofit focused, and I promise to get you more information. And what I would like to do with our first set of suggested rules for the application, I would love to, Melanie, if that's okay, and if it's okay with the board, to workshop the rules with you, or maybe a subset of you. You know, we can discuss and see, do these rules actually make sense for you? Are they too restrictive? Are they not restrictive enough? And then we can get some feedback, and then perhaps refine the application so it really serves its purpose. Quickly, efficiently get these out the door in use in a way that makes the most economic and operational sense. Right? So put your thinking caps on. Houses of worship, nonprofits that have a little extra room on your parking lot and you'd like to house some families, 1, 2 trailers, 20 trailers. Please think about it, because I think we could house 150 families pretty quickly. So more to come. Thank you.
That sounds great. And Ayako, maybe people can just reach out to you or I if you want to drop your, I know you dropped your email in earlier, I think I saw it, but if they want to be a part of kind of that brainstorming committee, because I already know of 2 people that have expressed interest in that. So, yep.
Yes, thank you. And Water of Life community church actually already had, Melanie connected me with them, and it's too bad they couldn't be on today, but they already had a plan for 20 RV trailers that would be interim housing until the permanent housing could be built. And so they would be perfect for this. And so again, we are trying to come up with the rules to ensure this really works for everyone. I do know that the county of Riverside informed me that they have 10 or 15 trailers from COVID that are still sitting in storage because they can't put them to use, again, because of the complexities of utility hookups. So they're just sitting there, right? So if you're in Riverside County and you want some trailers, please do contact the county of Riverside. But again, it's not that simple. And again, we want to make sure everyone understands what it will take to have a successful RV trailer program. So again, please put your thinking caps on, and yes, we will work on this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayako. And I'm hoping to have, Mark said that he's already has next Wednesday, next month, pinned down to present if we still have the space available. And we do. So he plans on coming next month and sharing a little bit about their exciting project.
Yes. And if I may add, Melanie, so Water of Life did tell me about a successful RV trailer program in the city of Highland in San Bernardino County. If anyone is on this call that is part of this, please let us know. But they put in trailers 2 years ago, 20 trailers with the county, Enterprise Community Partners, and a few other organizations, and they were able to do it. But again, it requires very specific a program around it. So I'm hoping to connect with them as well. As I learn more, I will share it with you all about how they modeled their successful RV program. Thanks. Or RV trailer program.
Thank you, Ayako, for that update.
Yes.
We can pivot to any other pillars that want to go ahead. I'm looking to see who's on. Alan or David, do you guys want to jump in if you have any updates to share?
Well, I'll say just a couple of things.
Okay.
One, and I know that Melinda may want to expand on this from yesterday, but I'm sorry I had to slip out a little early, but It was a great showing yesterday at the FDIC event, and a lot of banks were present. That was good to see. It was good to have that engagement there. So from our pillar, we love to see the financial institutions involved as well. And then another thing that I wanted to mention was last week at the Fair Housing Conference, Alan was one of the featured keynote speakers, and a lot of great material that he had to be challenged over food to get the audience to focus in on. And then when they started finding out the desserts were out there, but Alan, your presentation was great, and it sparked some interest actually from the audience. Impromptu interaction that probably wasn't planned from some of the tables up front, but I thought that presentation was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And it's like you almost segued into the next pillar and kind of did a soft intro for Alan. So Alan, would you mind sharing out some pillar updates and even maybe thoughts on the conference or being the keynote speaker?
Thanks everybody, and thanks David. It was good to see you in person. I can't tell you the last time. I'm not sure when that happened last time, so it was good to see you in person. And so the fair housing event I thought was interesting. I had sort of forgotten that I had been to that conference once before, pre-pandemic. It was a good event. So the Riverside County Fair Housing Council conference is what it was, and enjoyed it very much. Saw a couple other people that are here there also, and enjoyed it very much. Great opportunity to meet people and share ideas. I got to present at a workshop with Taylor Libor Varner from National Community Renaissance about affordable housing development, and then made some commentary about current policy as it relates to the regional housing needs assessment and what kind of resources are available in the region. There was a person at the very front row who wanted to have a conversation, apparently just with me and him instead of the rest of the 300 people. And I'll admit that it sort of knocked me off kilter for a bit, but it was fine. So I chair the Educate and Advocate pillar, which is a kind of an advocacy pillar. We meet on the first Tuesday every month at 10 a.m. for an hour. Here is my email address in case you're interested in participating. I'd be happy to add you to the list. When we met earlier this week, we had a really robust group and a really robust conversation talking about a range of issues, specifically around advocacy for the state budget, focusing in on the governor's lack of resources for the Cal Home program. And so we talked about that, and we talked about operationalizing around some advocacy for the program. And so Melanie and I are working on a support letter for additional resources for the Cal Home program, which, is all of you know, is a key resource for a path to homeownership for lower income people, and as a result, an opportunity to build wealth the way our mortgage system is structured today. We also talked about some local efforts to implement SB 9, which is a piece of legislation that was passed in 2022 and signed by the governor. It's essentially a single family zoning density program where it allows people to split lots and to build at more density. And the goal of our work was to come up with some guidance for local jurisdictions in San Bernardino and Riverside County who are seeking to implement the program. And we expect that a overview memo with best practices will be available before the end of May. Let's see. There continues to be a discussion that I think is fairly active and needs to be reinforced about the inequity of the way the state chooses to allocate its financial resources. So there's a pretty heavy competitive advantage for jurisdictions for applications for particularly multifamily resources from the state for applicants who are proposing to build something in coastal metropolitan areas. And so for areas that are considered suburban or exurban, like many of the ones in Riverside and San Bernardino counties, it's hard for organizations to compete for those resources. And so that comes up over and over and over. And I think that our group is interested in advocating for a more equitable distribution of resources. And so that happens in a bunch of different ways, whether it's state law that we considered last year and bills that are happening this year that govern things like vehicle miles traveled or density or things like that to make sure that our perspective is shared there. And then also in the regulatory process so that funding that has already been allocated and ready for distribution is set the competitive a competitive system to allocate those dollars, make sure that our region is getting its fair share. So again, I'll just offer that we'll be meeting on, I think it's May the 2nd. That sounds right to me. Let me make sure I'm telling the right date. So May the 2nd at 10 o'clock. And if you're interested at all, again, my email is there in the chat, and please let me know.
Yes, thank you, Alan. And so the last pillar is our wealth building and preservation. I wanted to see, is Melinda, oh there, yep. Melinda is gonna just share some announcements real quick.
Yeah, I just want to share a quick update. Melinda Opperman, credit.org for wealth building and preservation pillar. Thanks for the shout out, David, about the Bank On Forum yesterday that was convened by the FDIC and Fed. It was well attended, and that was under the wealth building preservation pillar. What I wanted to share today, and I can put it in the chat, is there is a new campaign that is going to be occurring, and it's Veteran Saves, which is part of the America Saves campaign. It's going to have a webinar next week. The campaign is launching a week from yesterday. And for those that aren't familiar with Inland Empire Saves, it's a regional campaign that we all are part of. It was convened after 10 years ago, FDIC, Fed, OCC convening. We all wanted something to rally around, and it was to help with financial empowerment for our communities, building wealth, not debt, making a pledge to become a saver. Paying down debt is even a form of saving. So part of that campaign, they have military saves, and now they are launching what's called Veteran Saves. And it's for our military veterans that are transitioning. So they have tips and information and legitimate tools to help them save successfully, reduce debt, build wealth. And it's all part of all of us that are mission aligned. It includes, nonprofits, financial institutions, government entities. So there's a webinar that people are encouraged to attend. I will be attending on our behalf as part of Inland Empire Saves as your campaign coordinator, but I just wanted to share it with others, and I can put it in the chat. Thanks, Mel.
Thank you, Melinda. All right, I'm just checking the chat. So that concludes our pillar update. So if there's any general announcements that need to be made, or that that can be made, need to be made for the region, this is a free space right now to for that. So you can go ahead and drop something in the chat, unmute yourself, and share out before we conclude the meeting. Okay, if there's nothing, I'll just do a quick short, because of the forum yesterday, we officially launched out the updated Bank on Matrix as well as the tutorial. It has been live, but the website is now launched live, and will continue to be updated as more certified accounts for our underserved and unbanked populations in the IE come about. As more products are Bank on certified, we'll be adding them there and providing information on those accounts and the different criteria and the referral and how to get connected with them. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, that your organizations as service providers or just even within internally, you know, if you have unbanked populations you serve or within or underserved or in located in an area where there's basically financial institution like Desert, these are all great products that are, some are online that you can leverage. So please check that out. It's on our website. The coalition page is launched and connected to the collective website also. So with that said, we can conclude our meeting here. I'll hang out if there's any questions anyone has, but thank you all for attending, and we look forward to seeing you in any pillar meetings or next month's meeting. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.